This episode of Small Business Bestie is sponsored by Cultivate Accounting. We're all that and a bag of chips, and we've recently added Lexington's favorite tax pro, Mike Rosine, to our team. Combined with the best small business bookkeeping pros, we're ready to help more besties than ever. We offer a free 30-minute review call each month to review your financials and answer your questions because your numbers should empower you, not overwhelm you. Visit cultivatelex.com or find us on Facebook to learn more. Hey besties, welcome back to another episode of Small Business Bestie. I'm your host, Michelle Smock, and today, for the second time, I am recording with one of Lexington's favorite yoga teachers and yoga studio owners. Kelli, tell us about you and what you do. I'm so excited to finally get to have this conversation.
Yes. So I own Wildfire Yoga. I've owned it for about 8 years, now going on 8 years. And I am an instructor. I am a teacher trainer. So we're a school. So I do teach teachers how to teach and have a great team behind me on that as well. I host international yoga retreats. I'm heading to Spain actually a month from today. And that's wild to lead my fifth international retreat. So there's like 19 of us going. So much fun.
Gosh.
And I know leading people across Spain, but it's my favorite way to travel. So that's just a fun part about me. But also, I just opened Wildfire Wellness, which is the space right next to me. I took over the space right next to me, and we have sauna and infrared and red light. And so we're easing into that big community space. So I've been a small business owner for 8 years. I started out an 800 square foot subleasing for a year and a half and then moved to right down the street in a warehouse block. So it's really growing, National Avenue. And from there, we expanded and then I've expanded again. So here we are. I'm a mindset coach as well. I feel that's super important, especially as a small business owner.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. There's so much that I want to get into because you're just a wealth of knowledge. And I know that there's so many small business owners who are either just getting started and thinking, I don't know if this is the right move, or they've been in business and now they're having to think, is it time to expand? Like, is this the right moment? And so I think having that insight from people who have walked through those stages is just so helpful. So I really want to get into like your mindset, your decision making when it came time for those types of things. So tell us a little bit more before you opened Wildfire
Mhm.
Yoga. What were you doing and what inspired Wildfire Yoga to become?
Yeah, so I was corporate America for 10 years and more after I graduated college. Started running various businesses, and I was like, how did I become a small business? But I was literally running a small business at 20. That's a whole nother story. When I lived in Cincinnati, it was a martini club, and so I was the general manager of that for 7 years. It was wild. It is. And so I did that for 7 years and then switched over to more corporate management for 10 more years. And then about 8 to 9 years, and then started my business. I'm going to age myself here at 37 with a child and family,
Uh-huh.
and got into yoga. I'm dealing with, in my late 20s, anxiety and depression, probably coming out of that nightclub job.
So early.
Yeah, well, the owner didn't really, we were all navigating together. She never owned a
Mm.
small business as well. So to think about it is wild. I did everything. The inventory, scheduling vans. I would meet with the city and we would go over events and how we could better Cincinnati, the city.
Yeah.
And and again, then if I think about that as well, it didn't feel out of alignment. It was just something I did. And maybe that's what I was born to do, is manage people, but also create things within spaces. And it just seemed like a natural thing to do. And she saw that in me, and that's what I did. So I didn't really think anything more about it. But as I got older, I was like, I can't keep doing this
Yeah.
forever. I want to have a family later on. So I was like, I have to shift gears and get more benefits and things like that. So I had to shift gears, but still ended up in management, and I feel like, but also, struggling with anxiety and depression in my late 20s. And seeked out yoga. So that's where the yoga came into place. And I started doing that like 4 to 5 days a week after my job, and then went and did yoga. And it was that mom guilt too, because my daughter was like 4. And so instead of going home to her, I would go straight to yoga. And it made me a better mom. It made me a better person. And then I took my first 200 hours and decided that I was going to open my own studio. And everybody thought I was crazy. They're like, no way. There's no way. Why would you do that? And I didn't really, I thought it just was an alignment. It's a feeling that you get where I don't know if everybody gets it, but I did. It just made sense. And I didn't think that I wasn't going to succeed. Now, it took me a year. It took me a year. I was like, I want to be done before my daughter starts kindergarten. And I gave myself a year and I just made those steps. So I was like, I took training. I taught 4 different places a week with my job. And I mean, I did what everybody does, works at the Y and Transy, and I worked all these different places, but like 5 days a week I would teach classes and then my corporate job full time and then be a mother. But I enjoy teaching so much. And we just kind of stumbled across a couple of the girls in my teacher training that stumbled across this place that we started to sublease. We were going to go in it together, and they decided not to do it. So I was like, well, I'll just start teaching privates out of here. And then the owner was like, hey, do you want to, renovate this? And we did. And I was there for a year and a half, 800 square foot. It was so narrow. I had to put mirrors up. And we went all the way back. I had carpet even. So I didn't even have like really a front desk. I had a corner desk, and I would just turn around and check people in. It took me 4 months to hire an instructor because I couldn't afford it. So I taught all the classes, and that was my job. I sat there until people showed up. So I got really good at privates, which I love to this day. So from there, we just outgrew the space, and I still wanted to stay in the warehouse block. So we moved down the street to 2 studios. We have 2 studios, an infrared studio and a big industrial studio. Basically doubled, tripled my space. And then 2019, COVID hit in 2020. And we shifted gears to virtual like right away, the next day, actually. We did not close down at all. And I just moved on. Things were happening, but I acted like things weren't happening. Because if you react, other people react. And so to save, my business, I had to have that same mindset as well.
Yeah.
I had to really get past the clutter. At that time, my dad passed a month later. And so I had to navigate grief and my business as well. And then I started I started another 300 hour during COVID of a training. And I think that really made a difference in my grieving process.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things about yoga teacher training is that it's more about deepening your own practice. At least my tiny experience with it was more about deepening the practice that I already had and less about learning how to teach, because somehow as you deepen your own practice, the teaching kind of comes.
Yes.
So that's beautiful that you had that opportunity to deepen your practice during a time of grief and all of the anxiety and stress that came along with COVID, and being a small business owner that depended on in person traditionally, and having to navigate all of those changes.
Yeah, they don't teach you that in entrepreneur school.
No.
There is no school.
No, they don't.
There is no school for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have people, especially, that are still with me, helping me navigate the virtual, and had some help with that as well. And I had a great team. I mean, we all shifted virtually and they helped, and they were able to teach at home. The community, the members really supported me and didn't leave us. And I'm just forever indebted to them. Like, they're just the best community ever. But yes, teacher training, I would say, is a look within. I say the studio is about mental health. It's about the work in, not the workout. And that's personally my values. And my business model is that we do more, we really mindfully move on our mat as mindfulness on and off the mat, but also the breath. And we really cue breath a lot, breath to movement. But it's that's why I got into it. It helped my mental health. So I wanted to create a space for others, a sacred space that they could explore naturally. And yoga it is it is a workout. It is hard. I'm not saying it's not hard at all, but my intention of opening this space was to allow it to help people like it helped me on a
Yeah.
more mental level.
It's always surprising to me that oftentimes when you feel that like true alignment, like your business venture, even though it's never easy, right? But your business venture is like, it doesn't take as long to make decisions. It doesn't like feel as heavy to make decisions because you're just going with that like instinct or feeling that you get and you just know like, okay, this is the next right step, you know?
And I think mindset is key. I mean, I think it's key. It's 100% key in making decisions because if your mind is full, you can't make decisions. And so you have to, I compartmentalize things. Like now I'm the yoga instructor. Now I'm the owner. Now I work the desk. Now
Yeah.
I'm, doing the manager stuff. That may seem like a whole lot for people, but mindfulness, mindset, practicing meditation really, I mean, it helped me to do what I'm doing now. There's no way I would be able to do that if I didn't create a mindset of like habits, like what do I need to do right now, and what can I do later? And creating space in the mind is going to allow you to be more creative too. So that's why I'm so passionate about mindset coaching is because it's so important even in your daily lives because we don't even know what we do in a day unless we write it down. And that's something that I tell people to do, like write down what you do in a day. It would be interesting to see. And they might be all task driven and there might be nothing in there self-care for you. And so we need to carve out some time in there regardless of how busy our lives are. It's so important.
Yeah. Man, I hear all of you amazing coaches telling us that constantly, and I don't do it yet enough. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I feel like maybe I do. Um, it's really hard, right?
Yeah.
To number one, to even realize when you're doing self-care, I think. So we have it in our minds like self-care is going to a yoga class or getting a massage or,
Mm-hmm.
sitting in silence and on our mat or, on our cushion or whatever for a meditation practice. We forget that also sometimes self-care can look like reading a book you enjoy or cooking a meal that you've been excited to cook or, there are all of these other things that can be self-care. But in our like busy driven society, we just chalk that up to like another thing I was doing, you know? So
Yeah.
even just the gratitude of, you know, that
Yeah.
there are things in your day that you're choosing to do that are beneficial for you, but it kind of gets like lumped into, oh, I did all the things in my day that I had to do. So,
Yeah, it's like a checklist,
yeah,
and it's like, got it done, got it done, got it done, and checklists are good too. I mean, it gets stuff on paper. I
right.
highly encourage that to get things out of your mind onto paper. But also, meditation, it doesn't have to look like anything. It could be literally, you could be doing the dishes and just focusing on that dish and nothing else. So it's like just focusing, bringing awareness to what you're doing at the time. It could be a small walk. It could be a walk without any digital, listening to anything or carrying your phone. So it could be anything. You don't have to be in a yoga studio. You don't have to be seated. It's just focusing on like what you're doing at hand. And that can create space too.
Do you
So
offer meditation classes specifically, or do you just bring the mindfulness aspects into the yoga class itself? How does that work at the studio?
yeah, so I would say in general, we all focus on breath a lot, and breath is going to bring you into the present moment because you have to focus on your breath. And that might look like counting. We might count with you for your breaths. We might, a whole like body, relax the jaw, things like that. So bring you into your body. So that's part, we don't have meditation classes per se. So we don't just
Hmm.
offer like 15 minutes of meditation. But I feel like all of us bring in breath work a lot, and we cue breath work a lot, so it brings you back into your body, into the present moment. So, but not in general, just meditation classes.
Yeah. Okay, so you were corporate, you started a personal yoga practice to help with your own mental health and dealing with everything that you were dealing with, and then felt the feeling of like, okay, opportunities are presenting themselves. I feel in alignment with how the universe is presenting things. You opened the first studio,
Mm-hmm.
and then you built a team.
Yes.
Okay, and then you moved into the new space. Was that something that you were actively looking for a new space, or like it just kind of appeared and you were like, okay, I'm gonna, walk through the door? How did that happen?
Yeah, I would say the first space was the universe. It was like, here's the space, take it or not.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was a bunch of us going into that. The second space was like, yeah, I need more space. Like we're 20 deep, 25 deep in classes, and we're coming out the door. I mean, we're literally coming out the door. Like, we need more space. So yes, I did talk to the owners and like, we need more space. I don't want to leave this area, so let's look at some space. It was Kentucky Mudworks at the time. They had that whole building, so I was the first one to go in there and pick my spot, basically. And now there's two other businesses in there as well with me.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so that was definitely like, yes, let's do this. The second, now this Wildfire Wellness space was over a year and a half in the making. We've taken it different routes. Like, I was going to move in that space, move the whole space in that space. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. And then what about being more holistic and adding more things for the community? And so that's kind of how that developed. And so that's the route that we decided to go, is to keep the current space we had and then expand into the space right next to us. I feel like we got really, again, the universe got lucky that we didn't move. And I wouldn't have moved, but that the people next to us decided to leave. And that was an opportunity for me to expand literally right next door. There is a doorway that takes us from the yoga studio into the wellness studio. So they don't have to go far. So I think the hardest part is like for the students, just like, what door do we go in? Like, can we
Yeah.
add another door? With so many doors, so many bathrooms. I think jokes about it all the time. There's just like so much of everything now. But it did feel alignment. It is a big space. It is. And people are like, wow, this is really big, but it does still feel very home-like. It feels good. Like, I think
Yeah.
really, I would say to anybody, like, really feel into your intuition, like, feel into your gut, like, really feel into that. If things don't feel good, that they're probably not. You might walk into a room of something and you might like, the energy in here is not well. Or, oh, the energy is really good in here. And so I'm going to stay. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like that. You really have to. And again, that's with my mindset too. It's like, this is a lot. Yes, this is a lot. This feels right. This is going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of business owners, we do a lot of things and we take risks. We really do. I feel like more than anybody, like that would be a lot for people. But I think small business owners have a different mindset. We have a different way of looking at things.
So, do you have any advice or any like techniques or tips? Because one of the things that I have to try to caution, especially women that I'm consulting with who they have a great idea for a business. They're really passionate about it. A lot of times it's something that like either a service or a good that they have that, has made a huge difference for them in their own personal lives. And now they want to share it with the world and they're just on fire about this idea and wanting to like be a force of good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much beauty and power in that desire and passion to be a good force in the universe. But as a small business owner, we also have to kind of balance that with, and does it make sense? Like, will it work? Are you going to survive, right? As a business, because you can be all the good force you want to, but if your profit and loss is constantly in the loss phase and not in the profit, then it's not going to work, long term. So do you have any tips or techniques or advice for people who are in that state of like feeling so optimistic and positive and hopeful and passionate, but also need to evaluate the business side? Because I know coming from corporate, you probably have a little of that mindset already ingrained in your way of thinking.
Yes, there's a lot to that right there. And I would say, I think it's different with brick and mortar and online businesses too. So like that's a whole different shift for
Mm-hmm.
me. The mindset coaching was more online. My brick and mortar, is my brick and mortar. And so that's a different kind of business, I think. So with that being said, I would start small. Like I would, if you're doing a brick and mortar, sublease. Like don't go in and lease a big space, and just set yourself up. Obviously, you need to look at your budgets and things like that and what you can spend out. But also, if you have to keep the job that you're doing now and then start teasing in what you really love, then you might need to keep that as well,
Yeah.
and balance that out. And like, what does that look like? Things don't just happen overnight. And so, even though you love this idea and like this, you want to help other people, that is beautiful. And you should explore that, I think. But definitely start small. And I would say do your homework too. Know your audience, know your brand, like who you are, be specific to what you do. There can be such a range of things. Like what is mindset coaching? Like what do you do in mindset coaching? Or, are you a business? You could be a business coach and a mindset coach, but what does that look like? So
Right.
there's just so many different things. So like I think you can be all things, but I think the most important thing is what are you the most passionate about? And who are you the
Yes.
most passionate about to help? I think really honing on that like is going to define you more. So that's something I would say that I've noticed on online, but also as a brick and mortar as well. I wouldn't say not to do it. I mean, I think that if you have a passion, you should definitely explore it and to some capacity. I
Yeah.
think everybody's lifestyle is different. And I always say this too. When I started the business, I just put my blinders on. Like I could not look around me to see what everybody else was doing, like what they were pricing theirs at, because no one's lifestyle is the same.
Right.
So you have to make what you have to make, and that might be different than somebody else's. And your expenses are different. So your pricing is not going to probably be the same as the person that does the same thing as you, too. So you have to look at so many different things of like, how do you want to price things and how's that going to benefit you? How's that going to benefit your students as well? But I think just really like, what do you need as you develop this new business as well?
I think what you said that felt the most pertinent to me was the part about starting small. Like
Yes.
it doesn't have to be like the leap from here to Mars to take that first step to know if you're on the right journey. And so like maybe coming up with your, most viable smallest product or smallest offering and like testing that out, testing those waters to kind of see, how am I being perceived? Like, is this something that people are open to? I think that's a really great piece of advice.
I think it's easy too with social media and everything is very loud. You have to hone in. You really do, because you'll see someone doing something that you're really passionate about doing. You're like, well, why can't I do that? Or you get that imposter syndrome where it's like causing you anxiety because you're like, why? I want to be there. I should be there. Or you aspire to be like them, right? But you don't realize how much work they probably have already done, how many years they've already put in. It's just, I think it's easy to look at other people's lives and say, this is what I want, but is this what you want, or this is just what you see? I think it's just
Yes.
really important because it's you got to stay authentic to you, and you start looking around. It's like we get caught up in like something that somebody else is doing, and it's not really for us.
Yeah. And I think when we start doing that, it's so easy also to like make this false assumption that if we're going to be able to stay competitive, we're going to have to do we have to be able to do what everybody else is doing. You know, maybe you have a bakery and you're like, well, I'm really good at making muffins. I'm not so good at cupcakes, but other people do cupcakes. I should probably do cupcakes. Oh, well, I also need to do frosted sugar cookies because those are really in on Instagram, And you start adding all of these things that aren't your true like passion or the thing that is just really sets you apart and makes you, the best at what you can do. And then you water it down and lose momentum.
Yeah, and then you lose people too because you're
Yeah.
like, what are they really doing? What
Right.
are they a cupcake place? So now are they a dessert place? Or
Right.
what are they doing? It's like they made the best, just make the best of what you make. Make the
Yes.
best cupcakes. You don't have to
Absolutely.
make just cupcakes, frosted cookies, we're just using that. But like, now you're selling chips. It's
Right.
like, I mean,
And now you're a
it's
deli. I don't
now
know.
you're a deli. It's like this whole thing has shifted because I mean, literally, if you look around you and other people are doing things, you're
Hmm.
like, oh well, I could do that too. I'm gonna do that because that's gonna help me sell more. It's like just I went to a conference and it was an empowering conference and it was about like just do this person was highly successful in cupcakes. I mean, just loved making cupcakes at home. And now that like she's known like the best cupcakes and I've tried them. I'm like, these are the best cupcakes I've ever had. And it's like, it's funny. It's not funny, but it's like, yeah, there's a cupcake business that is like making millions of dollars. And because they've made the best cupcakes, they have honed in on their skill set and their
Yeah.
skill and their passion. They make the best cupcakes. They don't have to make the other things. So I would say if you're going to be going into small business or a product, just do the best at that product and be known for that product, to start.
Yeah.
Because it is noisy out there. It's hard to be like, what's going on? They're just throwing spaghetti at the walls. It's like, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? And it
Right.
just gets it's overwhelming as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, for sure. As the business owner and also as the consumer, it's just a lot
Yes.
going on. Okay,
Yes.
so you create the best holistic spaces. Like that's your passion is to create a safe place for people. At least that's what I've
Yes.
gathered from you from
Yes.
talking. So I want to know more about the expansion into the wellness center and what you offer there and what people can expect and kind of how you're using that to impact the community.
Yeah, I think with the current space that I was having was plenty big. It just felt small to me after 8 years. Not 8 years there, but 6 years there.
Hmm.
And to others, that probably seemed crazy, but it just felt small and the community space wasn't big enough. I wanted people would stay after class, but it like would just, there wasn't enough room in the lobby. And so I noticed that too. And it was like, when I create this space, I'm going to have a huge community space. And it is huge. And that was so important to me because community is the most important thing. Like I have the best community. And I think, you just open the doors and you create the space and you just show up who you are. And I think that's who you attract. And that was the most important. And then the other is just like, I didn't want all the things. I was like, infrared saunas are great. Plunges have research behind them as well to be great for also inflammation, but also mental health and resetting the nervous system and things like that. Red light therapy is great for, again, inflammation. It's great for sleep. The PMF mat is great for arthritis and inflammation. And so those things were really important to me specifically. And then a lot of people wanted massage as well. So we started incorporating massage as well. So I didn't want, there's so many things you could put in that space. I just didn't want all the things. I just wanted those specific things. And I thought it makes sense going in with yoga to that. Again, the mental aspect, but also recovery, but also those things are just good for the body, mind and body connection. You have to breathe through the cold plunge. You have to breathe through it. Your mind has to move through that too, that coldness. And I know it's still cold, but we started it at 55 and people were like, that's cold still. A lot of our people have never done the cold plunge, so we didn't want to go too far below that. People are loving it. Yeah. So creating that space, yes. So I picked what I wanted to include. I was very intentional about that. I wanted like a retail space where I could do consignment for other small businesses. So I brought in other small businesses vendors so they could put their stuff there as well for consignment to fill up the space. We have
That's
huge space.
exciting. So is it
Yeah.
like a rotating cast of vendors that sell through your retail space?
Well, it's getting there. Now we're going to have people that actually are going to, provide stuff and leave their stuff there as well. So we will sell their stuff as well. So it gives them a place to put their things as well. So supporting small businesses during that. We're actually doing a swap shop. I said I have a posted for every thing that someone has said to me, like, you should do this, you should do this. And that's how, and so I go through my post-its and I'm like, okay, this is a good idea. This sounds good. I'm going to ask a couple of my members about this. And because everybody has ideas when you create space, you're like, oh, I can see this going here. I can see this, and you come in one day and there's a plant here and there's a new chair here, or the chair is moved from here to here, and you have flowers on your balcony now. So every day I walk in, I'm like, there's something new. And that happened with the other space. People started moving things that they felt like, maybe we'll try it here. We'll try it here. So it's like very home-like. Like people feel that they're fine doing that. And they are. Like, I love it that people put their own touches on the space. And it's like, you know what? That does look better there. I'm in it all the time. You don't see things when you're in it all the time. When you
Yeah.
walk in, you're like, oh, that fiddle tree is going to go great there. And it's like, okay, put it there then. So I'm very open. Um, I feel like very easy to be like, yes, go ahead, make it what you want. We'll take a look at it and see how it goes. Yeah, with the retail space, it's a very large space. People like, you should do this, you should do this. So we're doing a swap shop, which is fun, on the 22nd of June at 1 p.m. So people bring in like their gently used clothes, and you can swap those out for other clothes. So it's not something you have to go out and buy. So people that have like stuff that they don't want to, put it to Goodwill or something, they're like, I've outgrown this, but it's really nice. I've only wore it once. They bring it in, and then other people have the option to take it home and swapping out.
I
It's,
love that. Is it just
yeah.
clothes?
I mean, it sounds like clothes and accessories.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's super fun. I'll definitely have to come check that out.
Yeah, yeah. So there's plenty of space for that. So it's nice to have the space. I think I'd rather have more space than more limited space because you can grow into it. So that's kind of how I look at the space as well.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah,
I
just 20
know
small business. Yeah.
I know we recorded this episode several weeks ago.
Yes.
And we had some technical difficulties. And I know that when we talked the first time, you were telling me about the community space and just having a place for your members and your students to kind of be in community with one another, or even just a place to co-work. So
Yeah.
is that still a part of the feel and the vibe that's going on now that you're like operational and running with it?
Yeah, so I do encourage people to virtually work there or stop in and work on the computer, or after a treatment to sit and relax. So I think we're getting there. I think that we are starting to get more people that aren't members coming through the door that hear about us. So it's still pretty fresh. So to have people come like off the streets per se, like that have never
Mhm.
been in the studio, it is starting to happen, which is very exciting. But yes, I do. I love to have people around. Like I'm a big, yeah, of course, I just love community. So the more the merrier for me. But yes, it is open. It's again, there's plenty of space, furniture. It's a nice quiet space too. So it's inviting. And we also have like a little kind of back deck that I'm working on so we can open the doors and things like that back there. But everything's a work in progress, which is a lot for me because I like things to happen very quickly. And I've had to calm myself down a little bit to pull back to like, it's not going to be perfect, right away. I have to grow into it just like I did everything else. So, so that's been a little more challenging for me. I think that I want things to be like in place right away. And it's taken time, but it taken time for the right reason. People have come in for the right reason and making new connections like when it's right.
Mhm.
So whatever that means. It's just like I just don't throw things in place just to put them there. I'm just like waiting to see how things evolve.
It's being open to the right alignment, the right moment, trusting that things are happening the way they're supposed to.
Yes, yes. Trusting for sure.
So on Wednesday, June 25th is our next Small Business Bestie cocktail hour, and we're hosting at the Willow, which is right
Yes,
around the corner from you.
it is.
So I'm not sure what your schedule looks like, and if this is all like out the window, we can edit this part out. But it would be super fun if we could walk around the corner and like everybody see your space, see
I
like this
love
new
that.
opportunity for, working and working in, not out. And
Yeah.
all of the wellness opportunities that are there. So, for any of the besties that are coming to happy hour, we'll be right around the corner.
Yeah.
And I would love for us to be able to pop through and check everything out. So,
I love that. Yes. And I need to mark my calendar on that so I can come over. Or is it open for, how is that,
yeah,
Michelle?
so this is all new. The
Okay.
cocktail hours, we had our first one at J Renders a few weeks ago. And the idea really is just a very casual, open networking for people in the Small Business Bestie community. Last time we ended up having the most amazing conversations, and one of our besties, Pamela Honchel, we came up with this really cool idea, like all sitting around kind of round table style, just talking about like ways to promote her business. And we ended up coming up with these amazing ideas that she's really excited about. And that's the whole idea behind the meetups is let's get together and help inspire one another and be able to have people to bounce ideas off of. There's plenty of events out there where we hand each other our networking, our business card, and we say, "Oh, nice to meet you." And that's but there are very few events out there where you're really getting into deep conversation with people that you feel like you can, trust, and that you can say, "Hey, I'm having this problem in my business," or sharing a vulnerability and allowing people to give you that critical input that as a small business owner, sometimes we just don't get. So that's the whole principle of it is
Oh,
just connection.
I
So
might
yeah,
have
it's just
seen that. I might have seen that. I was trying to make that last one. So, yeah, I would love that. I'm all about women empowering women. Is it for women? All women?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
good. Okay.
I like to say I'm not going to discriminate if a man wants to join
Yeah.
us, but
Yeah.
in the Small Business Besties group, it's all women that I allow into that Facebook group.
Okay.
But if there's just an ally out there who wants to help support women in business and they want to stop by, I'm not going to kick them out. But I think my
Right.
branding definitely leans more towards the like
Yeah,
feminine
totally.
energy and all of that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I'm all about women empowering women and collaborating, and it's just
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, the Willow is beautiful. They're actually on the other side of our studio, so it's like we're all in the same building per se,
Uh-huh.
but we're all separate. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful place too. It's very. Have you been there before? It's so pretty.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of times, and
Okay.
I tell you, I love stopping by there, especially now that the weather's getting warmer and the doors are open. I just love it because it feels like I'm like on a tropical island with all
Yeah.
the plants that they have in there. It just feels so good,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, it's like a
So
little Tulum kind of vibe.
that is exactly what I was thinking. I was at a yoga retreat in Tulum, and they had this
Oh, you were?
beautiful,
Oh, cool.
like, what do they call palapa? With like all the plants around. And I was sitting in there the first day that it was warm, and I was sitting back in one of those chairs, and I thought, if I closed my eyes and just like the feeling in here, I could have believed I was sitting right there in
Yeah,
that palapa, just imagining an ocean breeze.
right. There you go. Exactly. Right in downtown. No, right in
Yeah.
there, the where
I love that you guys are all so close. That area is just incredible.
it is. I mean, it is amazing. I mean, we've got, Wild Lab, if you haven't tried their bread and their salads. Oh
Yes.
my God, I love so good. And just like Sabs, like there's just so many small business. I think there's like over 30. I mean, don't quote me on that. There's a lot. And
Yeah.
like 70% women owned as well. So a lot
I
of women
went
owned business.
to Void Sake,
Yes.
Sake,
Yeah.
Savannah Harover, who has a networking group called Love Club, had one
Yes.
of her
Yes.
meetups there a few weeks ago, and it was amazing. Just
It's so cool.
their
I like her a
cocktails
lot
are
too.
really good. The staff was so friendly. It was just a perfect environment to be able to gather with people and share space.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's just such a neat little, you can walk around there and just
Yeah, you could
shop.
spend a whole weekend and probably not see everything and enjoy everything there is to do in that little, like,
I
what,
know.
2 block radius there.
Yeah, yeah, we're all like right there.
It's
So it's
amazing.
good. It is good. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want people to know about you or the studio or the wellness studio?
I would just say that just come and check it out. Come check it out. Let us take you around, see what we've kind of built. And yoga, if you haven't started yoga, there's never really a perfect time. It's just the time that's when you're ready to. And we're definitely open for that. We do have an intro offer at $59 for 1 month unlimited for new students. So you can come and try out all the classes in that month and just see what appeals to you and what works for you and your lifestyle. I think it's a good time to just see how many classes you can come to in that month. And then while you're there, just sit in our community space, and we're adding things in like weekly. So who knows what it's going to look like next week. It's definitely, come move a plant around if you like, move the lamp towards you. It doesn't matter. It is so truly, I do love that though. I love that I had a member just put up these plants, these flowers on the railing the other day, and it's so cute. And I'm just like, that is so sweet.
She like brought them?
Yes, she brought them and hung them over the railing. So, and they're just so cute. I was like, people just love love the community, but also are just so kind and want to see everything succeed, and, just want to, it's just so sweet. It really is. There's no words. Yeah. Super grateful. Yeah. I would just say too, like for me, starting the day in gratitude has been a game changer in my life, I think. And so I think that is something like if we could start the day in gratitude of something, and I think it just changes the whole day, really.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Man, I just need you to call me every morning, Kelly, and say, let's have our gratitude practice. Let's take a minute to breathe, and then let's
I
go to
think you
yoga
loved.
class.
I think you loved when I said, and I remember this. You said, "I'm going to write that down." Is that are you controlling your breath, or is your breath controlling you? And that is something we talked about, and I still think about. I think about that a lot when can be stressed or having, again, I'm going to still stress and be like, Kelly, you don't look like you're stressed. I'm like, no, I do. I do. I just tap back in, and I think it's a good tool to just bring yourself back into your body. But I remembered you loved that last time, and I
I did love
say that in
that.
my
I'm going to
class.
make that the title of the episode so I don't forget it.
Yes, it's a good one.
Kelly, thank you so much for your time today. I'll be sure to link your socials, your website, all of the things. Do you guys have online booking for the yoga classes or the wellness studio?
Yes.
Okay.
So we go through Mind Body, but also we have a separate website for the wellness now too. But if you go on Mind Body app, it's under classes is the yoga and appointments is the wellness.
Yeah.
So you
Perfect.
yeah, either one. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, like I said, I'll put all of that in the show notes and in all of the comments on social. This has been so fun. Thank you for recording with me a second time.
Yes, of course. My pleasure. We'll have to see each other in person soon.
Absolutely. Well, if not before the 25th, I'll definitely see you then.
Okay, for sure. For sure.
All right.
That's
Thank
fair.
you so much. We'll talk
Thank
with you
you.
guys all later.
Thanks.
All right, besties, that does it for today. If you're interested in becoming a part of the Small Business Bestie community, join us in the Facebook group or find out more information on the website at smallbusinessbestie.org. Please share the podcast with your friends who could use a friend in business. And it would really mean so much to me if you follow the show and take just a few seconds to rate or review. A 5-star rating really helps the show become visible to other besties who may just need the support and friendship that we offer.